Zara stepped off the transport ship and onto Frontier Station Alpha. Her blue skin shimmered slightly under the artificial lights. She was the only Eldarian on board, and she felt all four of her eyes blinking rapidly as they adjusted to the new environment. The human station was bigger than she had imagined. Metal walls stretched up and around in a perfect circle. Humans in various uniforms walked quickly past her, some staring, others pretending not to notice her at all. She clutched her small bag of belongings closer to her chest. Inside was a ceremonial pendant containing the biodata of her ancestors going back 12 generations. It was her most precious possession. The pendant glowed softly, responding to her nervousness. "Welcome to Frontier Station Alpha," a voice announced over the speakers. "All new arrivals, please proceed to Processing Area B for orientation and quarters assignment." Zara followed the signs, her three-toed feet making soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. Two other alien species had arrived on the same transport, a pair of insectoid Rikians and a gaseous Morley contained in a special environmental suit. They all moved toward the processing area, but kept their distance from each other. This cultural exchange program was the first of its kind. Frontier Station Alpha had been designated as a meeting point for 5 different species to learn about each other and establish diplomatic ties. Zara had been selected because of her background in biological sciences and her quick ability to learn languages. She had studied human speech patterns for months before leaving her homeworld. At Processing Area B, a tall human man in a crisp uniform stood waiting. The badge on his chest identified him as Station Commander Frank Collins. "On behalf of Earth and the United Alliance, I welcome our guests to Frontier Station Alpha," Commander Collins said. His voice was formal and practiced. "Your presence here marks a historic step toward interstellar cooperation." The commander continued with his prepared speech, but Zara noticed his eyes never quite met hers or those of the other aliens. When he finished, several staff members came forward to guide each alien to their assigned quarters. "Eldarian delegate, please follow me," said a woman in a blue uniform. "I'm Security Officer Lisa Reeves. I'll show you to your quarters." Lisa walked at a steady pace, allowing Zara to keep up. Unlike the commander, Lisa looked directly at Zara when speaking. "Is this your first time away from your homeworld?" Lisa asked. "Yes," Zara replied, her voice producing the slight musical tone common to Eldarians. "I have studied humans extensively, but experiencing your culture directly is very different." Lisa nodded. "I imagine so. If you have any questions about station protocols or need assistance, you can use the communication panel in your quarters. Just press the blue button for general assistance." They stopped at a door marked E7. Lisa pressed her hand against a scanner, and the door slid open. "These are your quarters. They've been adjusted to match Eldarian atmospheric preferences. As closely as our systems allow, the lighting can be dimmed to accommodate your species' natural bioluminescence." Zara stepped inside. The room was small but clean. A sleeping platform, a small food preparation area, and a hygiene station designed to accommodate non-human physiologies. "Thank you," Zara said. Lisa gave a small smile. "Dinner is served in the main mess hall at 1800 hours. There will be food. Options suitable for Eldarian consumption." After Lisa left, Zara unpacked her few belongings. She placed her ancestor pendant in a small alcove near the sleeping platform and watched as it pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. The familiar sight calmed her. Several corridors away, in a private meeting room, Station Commander Collins sat with Senior Ambassador William Gray and his deputy Diane Powell. They reviewed files on the newly arrived aliens. "The Eldarians have the most advanced biotechnology we've encountered," Ambassador Gray said, looking at a tablet displaying Zara's information. "Their ability to manipulate genetic structures, could revolutionize our medical capabilities. Is that why we're bothering with this exchange program? Commander Collins asked. To get their tech? That's part of it, Gray admitted. Earth Central wants good relations with all potential allies, but especially those with something valuable to offer. Diane Powell swiped through some additional files. The Eldarian delegate seems to be their equivalent of a junior researcher. Promising in her field, but not someone with political influence. When the other two had left the room, Gray turned to Powell and lowered his voice. Keep a close eye on the blue freak. I want to know everything she does, everyone she talks to. Sir? Powell seemed confused. These aliens think they're so superior with their advanced tech. I don't trust them. Especially not the Eldarians with their mind-affecting pheromones. Her file doesn't mention any dangerous abilities. Gray snorted. Of course it doesn't. They only tell us what they want us to know. Later that evening, Zara made her way to the mess hall. The station's artificial day cycle was different from her homeworld, and she was still adjusting. As she entered the large room filled with tables, conversations quieted momentarily. Humans turned to look at her before resuming their discussions, now in lower voices. She approached the food dispensers, where options were clearly labeled for different species. The human servers behind the counter barely acknowledged her as they handed her a tray of synthesized food, designed to match Eldarian nutritional needs. Finding an empty table in the corner, Zara sat alone. The food looked correct in appearance, but tasted artificial. She ate slowly, watching the humans around her. Most sat in groups, talking and laughing. None approached her table. Security officer. Lisa Reeves entered the mess hall with two other officers. She noticed Zara sitting alone and nodded in her direction. It was a small gesture, but it was the first acknowledgement Zara had received since arriving at her quarters. That night, Zara found it difficult to sleep. The station lighting, even when dimmed, operated on a different spectrum than she was accustomed to. Her skin's natural bioluminescence responded by glowing brighter, making rest impossible. She sat up and began her evening meditation ritual. Singing softly in the Eldarian language, she focused on her ancestor pendant. The gentle melody filled her small quarters as she connected with the memories stored within the pendant. I am far from home, she sang in her native tongue, but I carry my people with me. Through their wisdom, I will find my path. Zara did not know that tomorrow would bring new challenges. She did not know that some humans on the station already resented her presence. But for now, in the quiet of her quarters, she found a moment of peace in her song. 3 weeks passed on Frontier Station Alpha. Zara tried her best to adapt to life among humans. Each morning, she attended cultural exchange meetings where representatives from each species shared information about their worlds. The humans seemed most interested in Eldarian biotechnology and healing methods. Zara explained what she could, though much of the advanced science was beyond her expertise. The station received news that the next supply ship would be delayed by at least 2 weeks. Commander Collins called a station-wide meeting to announce resource rationing. Until the supply ship arrives, all non-essential power usage will be reduced by 30%. Food portions will be adjusted accordingly, and all recreational facilities will operate on limited schedules, Collins explained to the gathered crowd. Whispers spread through the human crew. Many glanced at the alien delegates with cold eyes. Why should we share our supplies with them? A voice muttered from the back of the room. They don't even eat the same food as us. Zara pretended not to hear, but her blue skin darkened slightly, an Eldarian sign of distress. After the meeting, Zara returned to her quarters to find the temperature much colder than she had left it. Eldarians needed warmth to maintain their energy levels. She adjusted the controls, but by morning, the temperature had dropped again. The next day in the mess hall, Zara found that her food tasted much saltier than it should be. Salt was mildly toxic to Eldarians. She reported the issue to the kitchen staff, but they claimed the synthesizers were working correctly. Maybe your taste buds are just different today, one server suggested with a shrug. That evening, as Zara walked back to her quarters, she passed a group of humans in engineering uniforms. One of them, a tall man with a beard, stepped into her path. "Hey there, blue girl," he said. His voice sounded friendly, but his eyes were cold. "I'm Kyle Harris, engineering supervisor. Having any problems with your room systems?" Zara blinked her 4 eyes nervously. "Yes, actually. The temperature control seems to malfunction each night." Kyle smiled. "That's strange. I'll have someone look into it." He turned to his friends and winked. "We want our guests to be comfortable, don't we?" The men laughed as they walked away. Zara felt uneasy, but continued to her quarters. The next morning, Zara found her sink spraying purple water. She called maintenance, and Peter Morgan arrived an hour later. "I don't see any problem," he said. After a quick look, "The water's fine now." "But it was purple earlier," Zara insisted. "Listen," Peter said with a sigh. "These systems weren't designed for aliens. You can't expect everything to work perfectly. Maybe you're just seeing things differently with those 4 eyes of yours." After he left, Zara sat on her sleeping platform, feeling more alone than ever. She missed her homeworld, her family, and the respect she was accustomed to as a scientist. Security Officer Lisa Reeves was reviewing footage from the previous night when she noticed something odd. The camera showed Kyle Harris and 2 other engineers entering the maintenance shaft near Zara's quarters. They spent 15 minutes there before leaving, laughing among themselves. Lisa frowned and checked the maintenance logs. No work had been scheduled for that area. She decided to patrol near Zara's quarters more frequently. The next day, Lisa was walking past Zara's door when she noticed words scratched into the metal surface. "Go home, freak." She quickly used her uniform sleeve to rub away the words before anyone else could see them. As she was finishing, Zara's door opened. "Officer Reeves," Zara said, surprised. "Is something wrong?" Lisa straightened up. "Just routine security checks. How are you adjusting to life on the station?" Zara hesitated. "It has been challenging. Some systems in my quarters don't work correctly, and I think—" She stopped, unsure if she should continue. "You think what?" Lisa prompted gently. "I think some humans may be causing these problems on purpose," Zara said quietly. "But I have no proof, and I don't want to cause trouble." Lisa nodded slowly. "If you notice anything specific, please report it directly to me. My communication code is 4722. "Thank you," Zara said. For the first time in days, her skin brightened slightly. That evening, Ambassador Gray met with Commander Collins in his private office. "The Eldarian homeworld contacted me today," Gray said. "They're concerned about their delegates' reports." "What reports?" Collins asked. "Apparently, our blue visitor has been sending messages home about feeling unwelcome. The Eldarian Council is questioning whether this exchange program was a mistake." Collins rubbed his temples. "We can't afford diplomatic problems right now. The Eldarians' biotechnology could help solve Earth's food shortage crisis." "Exactly," Gray said. "Which is why I told them their delegate might be better suited for a different assignment. Perhaps somewhere with fewer humans. You're suggesting we remove her from the station?" "I'm suggesting we make it clear that if she can't handle a few cultural differences, perhaps her people should reconsider who they send as representatives." Meanwhile, Zara found refuge in the station's observation deck during off-peak hours. The vast view of space and distant stars reminded her of home. Here, she could sing her traditional songs without disturbing anyone. She didn't know that Lisa sometimes stood outside the door, listening to the haunting melodies. The security officer had begun reviewing all footage of the corridors near Zara's quarters and had identified Kyle, Harris, and his friends as the likely culprits behind the accidents in Zara's room. Lisa had taken her concerns to her direct supervisor, but was told not to make accusations without solid proof. "We can't start diplomatic incidents based on suspicions," her supervisor had warned. The station announced that the upcoming Earth Unification Day would be celebrated with a gathering in the main hall. All species were invited to join as a gesture of goodwill. Special food and drinks would be provided, despite the rationing. Kyle Harris and his friends discussed the upcoming celebration in the engineering break room. "They're wasting resources on a party for the aliens," Kyle complained, "while we're working double shifts because of staff shortages." "Someone should teach them they're not so welcome here," said his friend Alan Scott. "Especially that blue girl with the creepy eyes." Kyle smiled slowly. Unification Day might be the perfect opportunity. What they didn't realize was that Lisa Reeves had placed a small recording device in the break room. She listened to their conversation with growing concern. Something was going to happen at the celebration, and she needed to be ready. Earth Unification Day arrived. The main hall of Frontier Station Alpha was decorated with blue and green streamers, representing Earth's oceans and continents. Food tables lined the walls, and soft music played through the speakers. Humans and aliens mingled. Though most species kept to their own groups, Zara entered the hall wearing a traditional Eldarian celebration garment. The silvery fabric caught the light and reflected tiny rainbows around her. Around her neck hung her ancestor pendant, glowing softly with blue-green light. She had debated whether to wear it, but decided this formal occasion warranted displaying her family heritage. She stood awkwardly near the entrance, unsure where to go. The other alien delegates were speaking with human officials, but no one approached her. Lisa Reeves was on duty, wearing her security uniform with an extra communication device hidden in her ear. She had been unable to get additional security for the event, despite her concerns. Her supervisor had dismissed her worries about Kyle Harris and his friends as paranoia. "Keep the aliens and the humans from fighting. That's your job tonight," her supervisor had told her. Lisa noticed Zara standing alone and walked over. "That's a beautiful outfit," Lisa said. Zara's skin brightened slightly. "Thank you. It is traditional for celebrations on my homeworld. Your pendant is glowing more than usual," Lisa observed. "Yes, it responds to emotional states and surroundings. Large gatherings tend to increase its activity." Zara touched the pendant gently. "It contains the biodata of my ancestors. In a way, they are here with me." Across the room, Kyle Harris watched the exchange. He held a cup of punch that had been spiked with extra alcohol smuggled in from personal supplies. Several of his friends stood nearby, also drinking. "Look at that blue freak showing off," Kyle muttered. "Acting like she's better than everyone with her fancy glowing jewelry." Alan Scott drained his cup. "So what's the plan?" "Wait until later when people start leaving. She always goes to the observation deck after events. We'll follow her." Hours passed. The celebration continued, with Commander Collins giving a speech about unity and cooperation among species. Ambassador Gray spoke about the importance of cultural exchange. Though his eyes never met those of any alien delegates. As the event began to wind down, Zara slipped out quietly. As predicted, she headed toward the observation deck, seeking solitude. Among the stars, Kyle and 3 of his friends, Alan Scott, Jeff Brown, and Steve Miller, waited until she was in a deserted corridor before following. All 4 men had consumed significant amounts of alcohol. Lisa, who had been watching Kyle throughout the evening, noticed them leave shortly after Zara. She immediately felt uneasy and decided to follow at a distance. Zara had just reached the junction leading to the observation deck when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see Kyle and his friends blocking the corridor. "Going somewhere, Blue Girl?" Kyle asked, his words slightly slurred. Zara's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Excuse me. I was just heading to the observation deck." "You aliens think you're so special," Kyle said, stepping closer. "Coming here, taking our resources during shortages, looking down on us with your superior technology." "I don't think I'm superior," Zara said softly. "I'm just a scientist hoping to learn and share knowledge." "Here." "That boys? She's a scientist," Kyle mocked. "Probably studying us like lab animals." Zara tried to step around them, but Jeff moved to block her path. "What's this thing?" Kyle reached out and grabbed Zara's pendant. "Looks valuable." "Please don't touch that," Zara said, her voice trembling. "It's a sacred family heirloom." "Sacred?" "Huh." Kyle yanked the pendant, breaking its chain. "Let's see what makes it so special." "No." Zara reached for the pendant, but Steve pushed her back against the wall. Kyle examined the glowing object. "Doesn't look like much to me." "Please," Zara begged. "It contains irreplaceable biodata from my ancestors. It's all I have of my family here." "Aw, she misses her family," Alan taunted. "Maybe you should have stayed home with him instead of coming here where you're not wanted." Kyle tossed the pendant to Alan, who pretended to drop it, catching it at the last second. Zara lunged for it, but Jeff held her back. "Give it back, please," Zara said, her skin now dark blue with distress. "You want it back?" Alan held it up. "Here, take it." He suddenly threw it to the floor and stepped on it. The pendant cracked, its light flickering. Zara made a high-pitched sound of distress. Without warning, her skin released a cloud of pheromones, a natural defense mechanism Eldarians used only in extreme danger. The misty substance made the men dizzy and disoriented momentarily. "She's attacking us," Kyle shouted, staggering back. "The freak is using some kind of chemical weapon." "No, I didn't mean to. It happens automatically when," Zara tried to explain, but Kyle cut her off with a hard slap across her face. "You blue-skinned monster!" Kyle grabbed her arm roughly. The other men, recovering from the pheromone effect, joined in holding Zara against the wall. "Let's take a souvenir," Kyle said, pulling out a small utility knife from his pocket. "I've heard her kind's skin glows even when removed." Zara struggled, but couldn't break free from the 4 men. Kyle pressed the knife against her arm, slicing off a small patch of her luminescent skin. Zara screamed in pain as blue fluid seeped from the wound. "That's enough." Lisa's voice rang out from the end of the corridor. She had her service weapon drawn and pointed at the men. "Step away from her now." Kyle turned, still holding the knife. "This doesn't concern you, Reeves. She attacked us with some kind of alien chemical. We're defending ourselves." "I saw everything." "On the security feed," Lisa lied, hoping to scare them. "Put down the knife and step back." "She's not human," Kyle spat. "She doesn't have rights." "She's a person," Lisa responded firmly. "And this ends now." Lisa tapped her communication device. "Security to Junction 14, officers down and requiring immediate backup. I repeat, officers down." There were no officers down, but she knew this code would bring rapid response. Kyle hesitated, knife still in hand. "You're choosing an alien over your own kind?" "I'm choosing to protect someone who can't protect herself," Lisa said, her weapon steady. "Now drop the knife before this gets worse for you." The sound of running footsteps echoed from both ends of the corridor as security personnel responded to Lisa's call. Kyle finally lowered the knife, cursing under his breath. Lisa rushed to Zara, who had slumped to the floor, blue fluid still seeping from her wound. The broken pendant lay nearby, its light now just a faint flicker. Medical team to Junction 14. Lisa called into her communicator. We have an injured Eldarian delegate. Priority 1. She gently touched Zara's shoulder. Help is coming. You're safe now. Zara looked up at Lisa with all four eyes filled with pain. Why did you help me? She whispered. Because it was the right thing to do, Lisa answered simply. Zara lay on a bed in the medical bay. The room was adjusted to Eldarian healing preferences, warmer than human comfort levels, and with dimmed lights to reduce stress on her bioluminescent skin. Dr. Susan Mitchell, the station's chief medical officer, carefully treated the wound on Zara's arm, where Kyle had cut away a patch of her skin. The good news is that Eldarian skin can regenerate, Dr. Mitchell explained as she applied a special healing gel. But it will take time, and there may be a slight difference in the luminescence pattern. Zara nodded weakly. She had been in the medical bay for 2 days now. The physical pain was manageable, but the emotional wound ran deeper. Her broken ancestor pendant lay on a small table beside her bed. Its light had gone out completely. The door slid open, and Lisa Reeves entered. She was off duty, wearing civilian clothes instead of her security uniform. How are you feeling? Lisa asked, sitting in the chair beside Zara's bed. Better physically. Zara replied, Thank you for visiting, and for what you did. Lisa looked at the broken pendant. I'm sorry about your heirloom. Is there any way to repair it? The physical object can be fixed, but the biodata ... Zara's voice trailed off. That may be lost forever. Lisa reached into her pocket and pulled out a small pouch. We collected all the pieces we could find. Maybe some of the data can be recovered. Zara took the pouch with trembling hands. Thank you. This means more than you know. In Commander Collins' office, a heated discussion was taking place. Ambassador Gray paced back and forth while Collins sat behind his desk, looking troubled. This incident could destroy everything we've worked for, Gray said. If the Eldarians withdraw from the exchange program, we can forget about accessing their biotechnology. 4 of my crew members assaulted an official delegate, Collins replied. We can't just ignore that. I'm not suggesting we ignore it. I'm suggesting we handle it internally, quietly. Gray leaned forward. Call it a cultural misunderstanding. Say the Eldarians' pheromone release was perceived as an attack, causing the humans to react defensively. Collins frowned. That's not what happened, and you know it. Officer Reeves' report is very clear. Reeves is just one officer, her word against 4 crew members. There's also the security footage. Gray waved dismissively. Footage can be interpreted in different ways. The important thing is to handle this without involving the Eldarian homeworld. It's too late for that, Collins said. Station communications inform me that an Eldarian diplomatic vessel is already on its way. They want to investigate the incident personally. Gray's face reddened. Who authorized the communication with their homeworld? No one needed to authorize it. As a delegate, Zara has the right to contact her people. This is a disaster. Gray muttered. Sometimes sacrifices must be made for the greater good. If we have to discipline a few crew members to maintain appearances, so be it. But we can't let this incident jeopardize humanity's position. Unknown to both men, Lisa had placed a small recording device under Collins' desk earlier that day. She had suspected that there would be attempts to downplay the attack. Back in the medical bay, Lisa helped Zara sit up so she could eat. The Eldarian food synthesizer had been specially calibrated by Dr. Mitchell to produce nutrients that would help with healing. The men who attacked you are in the brig, Lisa told her. Kyle Harris, Alan Scott, Jeff Brown, and Steve Miller. They're being held pending formal charges. What will happen to them? Zara asked. That depends partly on you, Lisa replied. You have the right to testify about what happened. Your statement will be crucial to the case. Zara looked down at her food. If I testify, will it cause more problems between our species? I came here to build bridges, not break them. Sometimes bridges are built by facing hard truths, Lisa said. What they did was wrong, not just by Eldarian standards, but by human standards too. A nurse entered with a data pad. Dr. Mitchell asked me to inform you that an Eldarian ship will dock with the station tomorrow. They're sending a medical specialist to assist with your treatment. After the nurse left, Zara turned to Lisa with worried eyes. My people can be protective. I fear their reaction when they learn what happened. Then it's important they hear the whole truth, Lisa said. Not just about the attack, but also about the humans who helped you. That evening, Lisa retrieved the recording device from Colin's office and listened to the conversation between the commander and Ambassador Gray. Her face hardened as she heard Gray's dismissive attitude and his phrase about sacrifices for the greater good. Lisa made a copy of the recording and then went to visit Zara again. She found the Eldarian sitting up in bed, attempting to piece together her broken pendant. I've been thinking about your testimony, Lisa said. It's important that you tell not just what happened in that corridor, but about all the small incidents leading up to it. The temperature changes in your quarters, the tampered food, the graffiti on your door. You knew about those things? Zara asked, surprised. I suspected. I've been monitoring the security feeds near your quarters for weeks. I saw Kyle and his friends entering the maintenance shafts nearby too often for it to be coincidence. Lisa placed a data pad on Zara's bed. I've compiled all the security footage I could find. It shows a clear pattern of harassment. Zara's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Why would you do all this for me? Because what happened to you was wrong, Lisa said simply. And because I believe in what this station is supposed to represent. Different species learning to live together with respect. The next morning, an Eldarian ship docked with Frontier Station Alpha. It was smaller than human vessels, but more elegantly designed, with smooth lines that seemed to flow like water. Commander Collins, Ambassador Gray, and several security officers waited at the docking bay. Lisa stood among them, her face neutral but her posture tense. The airlock opened to reveal 3 Eldarians. Their blue skin was darker than Zara's, marked with patterns that indicated greater age and status. The leader stepped forward, a female with ornate biodata pendants and ceremonial markings. I am Senior Adjudicator Elara of the Eldarian High Council, she announced. Her voice carried the same musical quality as Zara's, but with more authority. I have come to investigate the attack on our delegate and to determine whether humans are worthy of continued relations with our people. Collins stepped forward. Welcome to Frontier Station Alpha, Adjudicator. I am Commander Frank Collins. We deeply regret the incident and assure you the perpetrators will be punished according to our laws. Elara's 4 eyes narrowed. I will judge that for myself. Take me to Zara immediately. As they walked toward the medical bay, Lisa moved closer to Elara. Adjudicator, my name is Security Officer Lisa Reeves. There's something you should know. About your delegate. Elara glanced at her with interest. And what is that human? Zara is one of the bravest individuals I've ever met, human or otherwise, Lisa said. Despite everything, she still believes in the purpose of this exchange program. A flicker of surprise crossed Elara's face, followed by what might have been a smile. Interesting, she said. Zara is my sister's daughter. It seems my niece has found at least one human worthy of respect. Adjudicator Elara sat beside Zara's bed in the medical bay. Their blue hands were clasped together, and they spoke softly in the musical Eldarian language. Dr. Mitchell and Lisa stood nearby, giving them some privacy but remaining present as requested by Elara. Your mother is very worried, Elara told Zara. The council was prepared to end all negotiations with humans when we heard what happened. Please don't, Zara replied. The actions of a few don't represent all humans. Illyra's 4 eyes studied her niece carefully. You still believe in this exchange program after what they did to you? Zara glanced at Lisa. Some humans are worth knowing. After their conversation, Illyra turned to Dr. Mitchell. Our ship carries a medical specialist. With your permission, he will assist in Zara's treatment. Of course, Dr. Mitchell agreed. I would welcome the help. Eldarian physiology is still new to me. Illyra then addressed Lisa. Security Officer Reeves, I understand you have evidence regarding the attack and events leading up to it. Lisa nodded. Yes, Adjudicator. I've collected security footage and recordings that show a pattern of harassment against Zara, not just a single incident. I would like to see this evidence, Illyra said. But first, I must meet with your station leadership. The meeting took place in Commander Collins' conference room. Illyra sat across from Collins and Ambassador Gray, with Lisa standing against the wall behind the Eldarian. Before we discuss the specific incident, Illyra began, I wish to make something clear. The Eldarian Council has authorized me to end all diplomatic relations with humans if I find your response to this attack insufficient. Ambassador Gray leaned forward. Adjudicator, we deeply regret this unfortunate event. The men involved have been detained and will face appropriate consequences. But I hope you understand that this was an isolated incident caused by cultural misunderstandings. Cultural misunderstandings? Illyra repeated coldly. Is it human culture to cut pieces from another sentient being's body? Of course not, Collins said quickly. What those men did violated our laws and values. And yet, Illyra continued, I'm told that Zara reported smaller incidents for weeks with no action taken. Gray shot a glance at Lisa. We had no knowledge of any pattern of harassment. Lisa stepped forward. That's not entirely accurate, Ambassador. She placed a data pad on the table. I have recordings of multiple incidents, as well as evidence that Zara's complaints were dismissed by station personnel. Officer Reeves, Gray said through clenched teeth. This is not the time. It is exactly the time, Lisa interrupted. She played a recording of Kyle and his friends discussing their plans in the engineering break room. Then she played the recording of Gray's conversation with Collins, including his words about sacrifices for the greater good. Collins looked shocked, while Gray's face turned red with anger. You recorded a private conversation in my office? Collins demanded. Yes, sir, Lisa admitted. Because I knew there would be attempts to minimize what happened to Zara. This is grounds for immediate dismissal, officer, Gray snapped. Illyra raised a hand. I find it interesting that you are more concerned with how evidence was gathered than with the content of that evidence, Ambassador. Lisa continued, There's more. I have security footage showing Kyle and his friends tampering with the systems in Zara's quarters. Footage of them vandalizing her door, and of course, footage of the attack itself. I would like to see all of this evidence, Illyra said, and I request that a formal tribunal be convened to address these crimes with representatives from both our peoples. Collins nodded slowly. That can be arranged. Additionally, Illyra continued, I want Officer Reeves to present the evidence. She seems to be the only one who took these matters seriously from the beginning. 2 days later, the tribunal began. Representatives from Earth Central Command arrived to oversee the proceedings, along with 2 additional Eldarian adjudicators from Illyra's ship. The station's main conference room was converted into a hearing chamber. Kyle Harris and his 3 friends sat at one table, looking sullen. Ambassador Gray sat alone at another, having been named in the charges for attempting to cover up the incidents. Commander Collins was present as a witness. Zara entered, now able to walk with assistance from Dr. Mitchell. Her blue skin was paler than usual, and the wound on her arm was covered with a healing patch. Her Aunt Elara walked beside her. Projecting protective authority, Lisa presented the evidence methodically, showing the security footage, playing the recordings, and explaining the pattern of harassment. She spoke clearly and calmly, letting the facts speak for themselves. When it was Zara's turn to testify, she described not only the attack, but also the daily indignities she had suffered. The worst part wasn't the physical pain, she said, her voice soft but steady. It was feeling that I was alone, that no one saw me as a person worthy of respect. She turned to look at Lisa. Then Officer Reeves showed me that not all humans think alike. One human's compassion outshines the cruelty of many. I have seen the worst of humanity, but also its best potential. The tribunal deliberated for several hours. Finally, the lead Earth Central representative announced their decision. Kyle Harris, Alan Scott, Jeff Brown, and Steve Miller are found guilty of assault, harassment, vandalism, and violation of diplomatic protocols. They will be removed from Frontier Station Alpha and sentenced to rehabilitation programs. He continued, Ambassador William Gray is found guilty of attempting to obstruct justice and violate diplomatic trust. He is relieved of his position and will return to Earth for further disciplinary action. After the tribunal, Elara met privately with the Earth representatives. To everyone's surprise, she proposed a new initiative. Selected humans would be invited to the Eldarian homeworld. Learn about their culture firsthand. The attackers showed the worst of humanity, Elara explained. But Officer Reeves showed us that humans are capable of great integrity. We wish to encourage more of the latter. Even more surprisingly, she suggested that Kyle Harris and his friends should be the first to go not as honored guests, but as part of their rehabilitation, to live among the people they had scorned and learn from them. 1 week later, Lisa was called to Commander Collins' office. She expected a reprimand for recording his conversation with Gray. Instead, he handed her a datapad. The Eldarians have requested you specifically for a new position, he said. Human liaison on their homeworld. It's a great honor. Lisa stared at the pad in shock. Why me? You should ask Zara that question yourself, Collins replied. Lisa found Zara in the observation deck, preparing to depart for the Eldarian ship. The blue-skinned girl looked much healthier, her natural luminescence returning to its full brightness. In her hands was her ancestor pendant, now repaired, though its glow was slightly different than before. I heard about your new assignment, Lisa said. Did you have something to do with it? Zara smiled, all four eyes crinkling at the corners. I might have suggested you to my aunt, but why me? Lisa asked. I'm just a security officer. Because you saw me as a person when no one else would, Zara replied, her pendant glowing brighter in response to her emotions. Sometimes it only takes one voice to change everything. Lisa looked out at the stars. I've never been to another planet before. It's not so different from coming to a space station, Zara said. You'll be the alien there. But don't worry, I'll stand up for you. As the Eldarian ship prepared for departure, Lisa packed her few belongings. Among them was a small pot containing a bioluminescent plant Zara had given her, a piece of Eldarian life that responded to human touch. When Lisa's fingers brushed its leaves, the plant glowed with the same blue-green light as Zara's pendant. Two different worlds, finding a way to shine together.